We can all feel the weather getting colder and can see the leaves starting to change colors. And just around the corner will be Halloween. But why do we celebrate this holiday? And how did it start? Today, I'm going to inform this audience of COM 110 students about just that, the history of Halloween. I will discuss the holiday's origin, how the Roman Church adapted the holiday, and its modern day presence in America. And now on to my main points. My first main point is the origin of the holiday. It is believed that many of the traditions we have for Halloween today originated from the Celtic holiday called Samhain. The Celts lived about 2,000 years ago where Ireland would be today. According to the article Samhain by the editors of History.com, which I accessed on October 16, 2020, Samhain was celebrated on November 1st, and this day marked the end of the harvest and of summer and the start of winter. Because the winter was usually associated with death during these times, the Celts believed that during this day the line between living and dead would blur, which would allow the dead to return. This included both past friends and relatives, and also evil spirits. According to the article History of Halloween by Benjamin Redford, which I accessed on October 16, 2020, to protect themselves from these evil spirits, people would wear masks or costumes so that they wouldn't recognize them. And they also believed that since this line was blurred on this day, it would make it easier for priests to predict the future for the next year. The resources on this holiday are fairly sparse, so it is difficult to know the exact traditions, but likely they would celebrate with bonfires where they would burn crop and animal sacrifices to deities and with family dinners. I have just discussed my first point, the Celtic origins of Halloween. The next point is how the holiday was adapted by the Roman Church. By about 43 AD, the Celtics had been taken over by the Romans, and during this time they ruled over them. They ended up changing this holiday. According to the article All Hallows Eve, which has no author, but I accessed on October 16, 2020, because this was a pagan holiday, the church did not like it. So instead, the Pope created All Saints' Day. This was a day to honor any saints who did not have their own specific day, and was a day full of prayer and fasting. It was originally held on the 13th of May, but was later moved to the 1st of November. The fact that these two holidays were now on the same day was likely purposeful, and was the church's attempt to make the Celts' conversion from Christianity much smoother. All Saints' Day was also known as All Hallows' Day, which then made the day before it All Hallows' Eve. On this day, one popular tradition that arose was for the poor to go door to door asking for food called a soul cake, and in return, the poor would pray for their family. These two holidays and the tradition of each ended up merging to create today's Halloween. I have just discussed my second point, the Roman Church's adaptation of the holiday. My final point is Halloween in America. According to the article Halloween 2020 by History.com editors, which I accessed on October 16, 2020, during the colonial and early days of America, Halloween was present but not very popular. It did not really become widespread until the 19th century. During this time, there was a large amount of Irish immigrants who were fleeing famine, so they brought this holiday along with them. They also brought with them the tradition of jack-o'-lanterns. But while today we carve pumpkins, in those days, pumpkins were not very easily accessed, so instead they would carve turnips. The article History of Halloween by Joshua Mark, which I accessed on October 16, 2020, states that pranking was also very popular on this night, but it could become very destructive. During the 1920s especially, there would be lots of property damage on the night of Halloween, and it started to become a very large problem. To combat this, however, many towns began to implement different celebrations to try to distract people from destroying their property. This included parties, parades, and giving out food or candy. In return for candy, people would then leave these houses in peace, which is where the tradition of trick-or-treating first started. Over the years, Halloween has become more focused on children and community, so it has lost a lot of its spiritual meanings behind it. This holiday and the traditions that go along with it continue to grow, and today it is the country's second largest commercial holiday behind only Christmas. I have just discussed my last point, Halloween in America. I have just discussed three main points about Halloween's history: the origin, the church's adaptation, and its modern day celebrations in America. And while much of this holiday has changed over the years, there are still many traditions present today that were done about 2,000 years ago. So whether you're carving pumpkins or dressing up in a costume, you'll be able to know where these traditions started.